Why is Jimin willing to travel long distances just to pick up Jungkook alone? What was the secret behind his loyalty that made the army cry? Are you ready to know the truth that will shake your heart? Megaphone, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on other controversial and emotional news. It all started when a short video with a duration of only a few seconds was circulating among the army. A fan accidentally filmed the astonishing moment. Jimin, with hair wet from the rain, walking down a deserted street in the middle of the night alone, towards a parked black car. In the car, a warm smile awaited him. That was Jungkook. On the screen of another smartphone, you can see the shadow of a tall figure with a black umbrella that carries her brother. But surprisingly, the figure was not the figure of the manager or security officer, but Jungkook's own mother. How touched Army was when he learned that behind the scenes of luxury and stage spotlights, the Jungkook and Jimin families kept a story of friendship and sacrifice that not many people knew about. Since then, the question has occupied the minds of every army around the world. Why would Jimin pick Jungkook up alone, without a team, without an escort, in the middle of a cold night? What is the story behind the silence of the streets? And what did Jungkook's mother reveal so that all eyes were on Jimin? As the stage lights dimmed and haters' comments sometimes pierced feelings, Jimin and Jungkook weren't just group mates. They've been friends longer than most people realize. But their friendship is put to the test when the pressures of fame, tight schedules, and negative rumors pour in. In the midst of it all, there was one memorable moment. When Jungkook had to undergo a sudden medical examination due to extreme fatigue, and Jimin, who had just returned from dance practice, chose to turn the steering wheel of his car towards the clinic to make sure his best friend was in good shape. Army found out, and the public's heart broke into pieces seeing how much Jimin cared. However, this time the story is much deeper and more personal. In a modest house in Seoul's Mapo district, Jungkook's mother, affectionately called Yama, sat in the living room, wiping a folded piece of paper several times. The paper was Jimin's handwritten letter, which contained an apology as well as his promise to always take care of Jungkook. She wrote, "Appa, I know you're tired, but you don't have to take it all on yourself. Don't worry, I'll come get you while I can still walk through the rain and the crowds." Iyama's eyes water as she remembers those lines. Every word that is written is so sincere, he said softly while holding back her. As the story spread online, netizens wondered, was Jimin Jungkook's friendship just a platitude, or were there deeper family ties? As it turns out, before K-pop shaped their lives, there were two boys who met in a park near their childhood home, the jovial Jimin and the shy Jungkook. They grew up together, sharing an old bicycle, counting stars at night, and even sleeping crammed together when racked by a high fever. As time passed, they were both accepted into prestigious music academies, and their fates intertwined under the same label. But pressure after pressure eroded many things, until finally their intimacy was tenuous. What made Jimin willing to set foot on a deserted road to pick up the only Jungkook? That's the question that drove reporters to meet Mrs. Jungkook in the damp morning. When presented with the question, Yama was only silent for a moment, then sighed deeply. You may see only two young men, but what you don't know is that, behind the cheerful Jungkook, there is a huge sense of guilt towards the person who has been looking after and raising him. In the foyer of the house, a portrait of Jungkook's family is displayed. The strict father, the gentle Yama, and little Jungkook are holding certificates of appreciation. Yama said, "A few months ago, Jungkook made a big decision. He chose widowhood over retirement in favor of a collaborative project that was physically and emotionally draining. He felt bad if Jimin kept waiting and postponed the training for the sake of accompanying him. So, he decided to complete his own obligations. However, the victory turned out to be a double-edged sword. 1 week later, as the promotional broadcast lasted into the early hours of the morning, Jungkook suddenly collapsed on stage. The management team immediately took Jungkook to the hospital, leaving Jimin, who had just finished training. Jimin got an emergency call, but he couldn't immediately go to the hospital because of the live show schedule that was in sight. In the confusion, Yama, who was waiting in the waiting room, saw Jimin's phone light up, displaying the essence of the message. "Appa, "I'm sorry, I don't want you to pick me up again. I don't want you to sacrifice your schedule." But Emma did not remain silent. In his heart, he felt guilty because he had been too focused on supporting Jungkook to pursue his dreams in the entertainment world, forgetting that the real figure who became Jungkook's strength was Jimin, a friend and brother who never gave up. Then came the day when Jimin's schedule came loose, an evening radio broadcast after a fan meeting. Jimin came out of the studio with an empty umbrella, walking through the drizzle of heavy rain without a guide. All eyes stared at him, not expecting that he was willing to go through the waves of rain alone. What prompted Jimin, an idol of his class, to refuse the protection of the management team to pick up Jungkook alone? Is there a dark secret they are hiding? When Jimin arrived at the hospital, he immediately ducked beside Jungkook's bed. His eyes were puffy, his lips quivering, holding Haru. "Jungkook, you tried to be alone all this time, but you forgot I'm always by your side," Jimin said softly, holding back tears. The awakened Jungkook instantly grabs Jimin's hand. A simple moment that makes them realize that in this world full of falsehoods, the bonds of brotherhood cannot be separated by anything. From the VIP room, Yama sobbed watching the scene. "All this time I thought, Jungkook's decision to bear the burden alone is the best way. But Jimin was always there to prove that his brother didn't have to go through the storm alone." Yama took out a piece of banana cake that was deliberately brought from home, Jungkook's favorite food as a child. "This is your favorite banana cake, Jungkook. Remember when we baked it together?" Yama said as she gently rubbed Jungkook's head. The social media army is growing. Hashtags #JiminSisha, #IbuJungkookBerserida, #IrumWomanAnjastrin on Twitter and Instagram. As if not a day goes by without an update that contains Jimin's sweet moments from his visit to the hospital to Jungkook's mother's statement on his personal YouTube channel. Many netizens uploaded a short clip of Yama's raw interview recording, in which she revealed a surprising sentence. Jimin once wrote a letter. He said, "Yama, thank you for raising Jungkook. But let me be the first to give her a hug when she wakes up." As the video went viral, more and more questions boiled over. How deep were Jimin's feelings for Jungkook? Is this just a sincere friendship, or is there a hidden red thread that has not yet been revealed? The army is divided. Some believe this is just an admirable form of brotherhood, others that it permeates a romantic atmosphere so intense that it causes shipping between them. On that night's episode, Jimin returned to BTS's dorm alone, leaving the rest of the members to slumber. In his room, he composed word for his secret diary. "This morning I cried, not because Jungkook was sick, but because I realized I was more afraid of losing our togetherness than anything. The world is hard, and I don't want Jungkook to endure it alone." He took a deep breath, closing the diary. "Tomorrow I will pick you up again, no matter how hard it is." The story then shifted to a different angle, where in the morning, a short video call of Jungkook's mother with Jimin's family spread on a closed network. The mother spoke with Jimin's mother, ahead of a massive press conference that will be held by HYB. Oppa Jimin is too impressive. He refuses to be protected by the security team, only to pick up Jungkook. "We cannot allow this issue to continue circulating without clarification," said Mrs. Jungkook. Question: is management afraid that this story will damage the brand's image? Or is there pressure from agencies to keep a distance between them? Meanwhile, the agency immediately moved. They released a relaxed official statement. Jimin and Jungkook have been close friends since they were trainees. However, they are professionals and there is nothing to exaggerate. However, doesn't that explanation actually pose a bigger question mark? The army read the sentence as if it had something to hide, because Jimin was clearly refusing the team's protection in order to pick up Jungkook. Issue after issue began to emerge. Was there a secret agreement between the Jungkook family and the Jimin family before they debuted? Is Jimin willing to risk his career to protect his best friend? Or perhaps there are deeper family threads, such as blood ties or past promises. On the other hand, Jungkook himself uploaded a photo of himself lying in a hospital bed, holding a piece of paper. To the army, "I'm sorry for making you worry. Thank you for all your love and prayers. I'll be back stronger soon." The photo was flooded with comments. We are all crying. Jimin is so cool. Jungkook's mom is the best. But not a few have questioned HYBE's official narrative. This news seems to open Pandora's box. Many have begun to trace the digital footprint of both, from old posts on SoundCloud to Instagram DMs containing heart emojis. A netizen even found a photo of little Jimin and Jungkook taking pictures in the schoolyard, complete with the caption, "Best friends since 2009. Then came the rumors. Jimin once said, "Jungkook is not just a friend, he is the reason I survived." This fact is unfortunately denied by the agency, which states that there is no official statement as such. However, in the hearts of the army, curiosity grew. Will they provide more in-depth clarification or let the rumors continue to circulate? When the K-pop world is buzzing with the comeback of top groups, the story of Jimin Jungkook suddenly makes BTS dominate the global trending topic. Many international media outlets took part in the spotlight, even though the agency forbade any journalist to ask such sensitive questions directly. ARMY also felt as if they were watching a real-life drama, which was more exciting than any music video. Not stopping there, on the third day after going viral, a short video post appeared on Iyama's YouTube channel. In a trembling voice, he affirmed, "I do not want these children to be trapped by rumors and gossip. All we want is their happiness." And Jimin, he did write that letter. I read it to journalists, not to the public, but it seems that an unexpected leak touched the hearts of many people. Some of the sentences in the video sparked a heated debate. Did Iyama actually intend to protect the privacy of the child, or actually make things worse by opening the story too deeply? The more we remember, is the world ready to witness a bond of friendship that is so strong that it penetrates all the pressures of the entertainment industry, from the roar of keyboard sounds to discussions in soul cafes? This topic is never quiet. Some compare it to other idol stories that hold a similar principle, breaking through obstacles for friends. However, there is nothing quite like the story of Jimin and Jungkook. Fans began to come up with theories. Someday, they will make a duet project about this true story. Or maybe Jimin will write a love song about Jungkook that few people can understand. The ideas spread and added dramatic spice. Behind the scenes, BTS management began to be overwhelmed by covering the digital footprint. Some older tweets deemed too representative of feelings were deleted. Certain fanbase accounts were temporarily blocked for uploading sensitive photos too often. Netizens moved quickly, trying to salvage any remaining evidence before it was removed. "Stop the censors. We deserve to know," wrote one of the caustic comments. When ARMY's emotional temperature reached its peak, Iyama once again appeared with a more soothing statement. "Mother's love surpasses anything. I know very well how valuable Jimin is to Jungkook, just as Jungkook is to Jimin. Let them live their lives, as long as it does not harm anyone." These words seemed to soothe the commotion, but also sparked further curiosity. What exactly caused Jimin and Jungkook to almost separate in the past? Some fans even traced an old interview with Jimin's former dance teacher, who once said that Jimin once sobbed in the studio because he was worried that Jungkook would move on with a new friend during Jimin's hiatus of several weeks. There is also a story from an old assistant who said, Jimin was never late to the set, except for the uphold friendship message he sent to the staff. All of these clues make it clear just how deeply Jimin is committed to Jungkook, even when the public isn't looking. The question is now, does the public deserve to know all these secrets, or should we allow them to lead a normal life? On the other hand, Jungkook began to recover his physical condition and was seen back in the training studio. His hand clasped Jimin's letter, a letter written in black ink, titled, "Brother, do you know how much I miss you?" In the letter, Jimin wrote, "Jungkook, as the seconds passed, I realized more and more that our friendship was not just a sweet story. We've gone through storms together. We laugh, we cry, we strengthen each other. When you decided to go it alone, I actually felt like I was losing my way. My heart is empty without your presence. I'm writing this to let you know that no matter what happens, I will always come to pick you up, even though the streets are quiet and it's raining heavily. Because you're not just a friend, you're my brother. With all love and prayers, Jimin." At that moment, Jungkook couldn't hold back tears, watched by dozens of his crew and close friends, and captured by a hidden videographer. Now, ARMY not only sees Jimin as an idol, but also as a self-sacrificing brother. The public reaction was unstoppable. "Jimin beats all definitions of friendship I've ever known," wrote one fan. However, as this story began to wind down, a surprising twist emerged. Allegedly, the project Jungkook was working on was not fully completed, and the agency was secretly covering it up so as not to disturb BTS's image. Rumor has it that Jungkook actually established intense communication with Jimin long before he was discharged from the hospital. There are late-night calls,